Hey, what's up guys? Alex Espinoza with the Ricky Henderson of YouTube. Make sure to use my affiliate link down below at lasteyebrow.com. As I record this, it is Sunday, January 26th, and I meant to make this video a few weeks ago, like 6 weeks ago or whatever, but I've just been getting busy with my day job and doing some fun stuff down here in Mexico, but I'm going to try to stay on top of this stuff as much as I can. It's tough. But anyways, all right, jumping into it. So way back on December 5th, Las Vegas Stadium Authority held another meeting about the A's Stadium and approved a bunch of big documents, including the development agreement, non-relocation agreement, the lease, the deed, made all these findings and stuff. And you know, if you look at this photo and everything, it looks like, it was a big glorious day, but there's still a big chunk missing, and that's John Fisher's money. So this December 5th meeting was important because they were pushing up against the December 15th deadline. SB 1 was approved by Governor Joe Lombardo on June 15th, 2023. And then 18 months later, they were pushing up against this December 15th deadline to get all these documents approved. But we're still in this weird kind of limbo, no man's land, because you know, John Fisher still hasn't put down any money in an irrevocable trust. He's on the hook for the first $100 million of this project, and so they kind of pushed it forward, but kind of kicked the can down the road at the same time. So, and some other just off the top observations, you know, watching this whole meeting is they didn't make a single mention of 2028, no mention of kind of groundbreaking in Q2. Sandy Dean did make a mention about Q2, but if you listen here, it sounds like they're going to start implementing financing or financing paperwork, but he doesn't really mention groundbreaking.
We have a third letter from Athletics Stadco LLC that lays out principally the conditions that come with both the construction term loan and the equity commitment. And I would just note that many of those conditions relate to kind of the completion of definitive documentation for financing that will really start being utilized in earnest in the second quarter sometime.
Maybe the A's are going to be they're already thinking about exercising this fourth-year option in Sacramento for 2028, and perhaps we'll be seeing, if Vegas ever does happen, we'll be seeing it in 2029 at the earliest, but that's me kind of, you know, connecting some dots here. So the meeting started off with some public comment, including some more sharp observations from A's fan Jeremy Koo, who's been really tapped in this whole way. And his biggest observation this time around was that in Section 34 of the development agreement, it calls for the completion of a sports entertainment district, but actually they have to get approvals from the Clark County first. So they just kind of got their order of operations mixed up, and they actually ended up changing this later on in the meeting, and they called it the Koo Amendment. So I thought that was kind of cool. Jeremy actually pointed out something that was wrong, and they changed it. And then he mentioned some other things that he noticed, but one thing he didn't have a chance to talk about, but he actually wrote to the board about that I thought was really interesting, is he pointed out that the A's basically have this escape clause called the termination for convenience. And it goes as, this is the language for it. It says, in addition to any other rights developer may have at law or under this agreement with respect to cancellation or termination, developer may, without cause and in its sole discretion, terminate this agreement upon not less than 14 days written notice to, if developer determines that a termination is appropriate for its convenience. So again, basically this is just saying that the A's, they just have to give Mortensen McCarthy and the stadium board, I think, 14 days notice. They just have to pay Mortensen McCarthy, their construction partner, all their costs, and then they're out. So it's kind of like a get out of jail free card. So, you know, the only thing I think is John Fisher would just have to live with public scorn, and I think he's fine with that. So shout out to Jeremy for pointing that out. And then after that, the public comment continued. We heard from Chris Daly, who, you know, he's with the Nevada State Education Association. He represents schools over stadiums and strong public schools Nevadas. You know, they've been trying to be the A's biggest political opponent with litigation and also trying to get a referendum on the ballot. So far, they've gone 0 for 2 in their efforts, but he's still out here calling out the stadium board.
Mr. Chairman, Chris Daly, Schools Over Stadiums. On Monday, News 4 in Reno ran a powerful story on the school lunch debt growing in Washoe County. It's now $45,000. They also report fewer students accessing school lunches, indicating Nevada kids may be going hungry today. You may remember that one day after signing SB1 into law, gifting John Fisher up to $380 billion, $1 million in public funds, Joe Lombardo vetoed AB 319 to provide free meals to all Nevada students. Nevada should put the needs of students ahead of a California billionaire. For schools over stadiums, this is a question of priorities. Over much of the past year, we've engaged this authority in litigation challenging the constitutionality of SB1. The suit was dismissed in September due to ripeness and standing. However, the court made no determination on the merits of the claims. The ripeness issue will be resolved if this board moves this project forward today, and we have been in discussions about the appropriate parties to bring similar litigation at that time. I mention this because the development agreement you are considering includes language stating, quote, "There's no action, suit, proceeding, claim, arbitration, or investigation pending or to the authority's knowledge threatened by any person against the authority," et cetera, et cetera. I'm here to advise you that litigation against the authority is very much a threat and would advise you disapproving this language. Back in August, Schools Over Stadiums requested all documents, notes, emails, letters, or other correspondence related to construction design, cost, and financing of the stadium. After a 4-month delay, on the eve of this meeting, we received 1 document, 5 letters, and just over 50 emails that included text. This, despite the stated reason for delay being our request generated 20,000 potential emails to be reviewed. Simply put, you stonewalled us. So instead of any actual substance, the public is left with just an IOU from John Fisher stating the Fisher family is good for it. As John Fisher alone likely does not have the ability to finance $1.1 billion, it would be helpful to know what you have in written commitments from Doris, Robert, and William, because nothing has been provided to the public. Item number 5 on today's agenda is the finding that the developer partner has provided adequate financial security for the development and construction of the project. There is no way, in good conscience, to make that finding based on that letter and the other materials in your packet. Please vote down item number 5 on your agenda. Thank you.
So we'll hear from Chris again, but he's always bringing some really pointed comments here. And after him was a dude named Sal Johnson from an organization called the Edison Opportunity Fund. And, to this point, we haven't really heard much public comment in favor of the project, but this guy comes in and according to its website, the Edison Opportunity Fund is a qualified opportunity zone real estate and venture capital fund. So just take a listen to his comment.
Good afternoon. Sal Johnson, Edison Opportunity Fund. Good afternoon, Chairman Hill, Vice Chairman Epstein, Secretary Blackhurst, and the members of the board. My name is Sal Johnson, and I serve as fund manager for Edison Opportunity Fund, a Nevada-based qualified opportunity fund with a proud history of leadership and opportunity zone development. We are here today because of a monumental project that has the potential to transform not only the Las Vegas Strip, but also the future of opportunity zones nationwide. The Edison Opportunity Fund is submitting a letter of support for the approval of the development, non-relocation, and lease agreement for the athletics ballpark. I respectfully ask that it be entered into the official minutes of this meeting. The athletics leadership, John Fisher, Dave Cavell, Sandy Dean, Catherine Aker, have been facing undue criticism, in my opinion, that I believe is neither reflective of their character nor the diligent work they've undertaken to bring this project to fruition. Since their arrival in Las Vegas, they have consistently shown integrity, vision, and a deep commitment to our community. We firmly believe this project will not only result in an iconic venue designed by world-renowned architect Bjarke Ingels, but will also ignite unparalleled economic growth in this area. It is our belief that the Las Vegas Athletics will thrive, winning 3 consecutive World Series upon playing in Las Vegas and putting them second only to my beloved New York Yankees as the most titles in World Series history. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you for your leadership as a board, especially you, Mr. Hill. God bless you, sir. And for this transformative project that is coming into our valley. God bless you guys. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but my initial reaction to this was that this guy just smacks of a PR plant, A's public relations plant. And that was just my initial reaction. And then guess what? I watched the entire meeting, and guess what happens at the very end of the meeting? Our buddy Sal just makes a beeline over to A's PR, head of PR, Catherine Aker, and they had a little smile and chat. Check it out.
Anybody else? Okay, we are adjourned. I'm going to invite the folks I talked about up.
So, come on, guys, got to hide it a little better than that, right? I pulled this video from the Clark County website. It's all publicly available. And I honestly couldn't help but think about this scene from Ocean's 11.
In my hotels, there's always somebody watching.
So, always watching. And so the first three items, then we finally got into the meat of the meeting. I think there was 14 agenda items, and the first three had to do with Allegiant Stadium and the Raiders and stuff like that. But then we finally heard from A's executive Sandy Dean for item 4. And according to item 4, this is basically the board holding a vote and that they have found that the developer partner's ability to successfully develop and construct the Major League Baseball stadium project. So basically, honestly, Sandy Dean, it was just a bunch of virtual handshakes. He was just thanking everybody who, behind the scenes who did this. And then we got this first of many joke votes from the Stadium Authority Board.
We've also shared that we've expended about $40 million to date on our Las Vegas ballpark effort. And we've assembled a team of more than 30 distinct firms that are working with us to design, document, redesign, improve, and ultimately build this ballpark on the Las Vegas Strip. We think it's noteworthy that beyond Mortensen McCarthy, a number of the firms that we've shared we're also involved with Allegiant, and so we think we have a very strong team here. I've found myself saying in the last many months that it feels like we have an army working on the project. In the second finding, I thought we would address the increase in budget and some of the features that are behind that and so on. But happy to answer any questions about our investment or the progress we've made or the team we've assembled, if there are any.
Thank you, Sandy. Any questions for Mr. Dean? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve agenda item 4, which is the baseball stadium developer partner has, in accordance with Senate Bill 1, demonstrated to the satisfaction of the board that the developer partner is able to successfully develop and construct the Major League Baseball stadium project.
Move to approve exactly what Steve just said.
You are second. Yeah, I have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Lawrence Epstein, yes.
Great, thank you. Agenda item 5.
So that was basically how it was, just a lot of talking, no questions, and then quick votes saying yep. So up next was item 5, and another board finding, this time that the developer partner's financial security for the performance of the financial obligations for the development and construction of a Major League Stadium baseball project. So basically just saying again, yes, the Fishers are rich and they have the ability to do this stuff. And then we heard from Las Vegas Stadium Authority Board CFO Ed Finger, who really wants to state that this is about capability, not about execution. So this is just saying, hey, the Fishers have the ability to do this.
In support of this finding, the backup for this agenda item contains documents from the parties detailing how the non-public portion of the baseball stadium cost will be provided in the current total estimated budget. In a moment, Mr. Dean will make a presentation explaining these documents and the framework for the financing. Before he does, I will remind you that this finding is a finding of financial capability. The law and the development agreement require that before any public money is spent on construction, capability has to convert to execution, and the developer partner must have committed financing.
And then we got an update from Steve Hill. And again, he's basically just reiterating that the Fishers are rich. He's saying that the A's have to irrevocably put down cash. And he's saying that the cost might rise again later on.
The next step prior to the county issuing bonds, and we've talked about this, and I think everybody knows it, is that the A's are going to be required to irrevocably post cash, a letter of credit, or construction financing in the hands of a third party that cannot be withdrawn. The other thing I'll say, and I think I'm probably beating Mr. Dean to the punch here, is it's very clear in the law that there is a cap on the amount of public investment that can be made of $380 million in this project, and that any overages in the cost of the stadium are the responsibility of the A's, which they are taking. The way that process works, because this may not be the last time, we hope for you that it is, but may not be the last time that the costs rise. And if they do, along the way, before any additional public money, and I don't mean additional in terms of over the 380, because that is not possible. I'm saying that as we, as the public, pays its proportionate share, that process stops if there is an overage in the estimated final cost of the project until the A's irrevocably deposit additional cash or additional financing to pay for those overages. So it's important to understand where we are in this process right now. And Mr. Finger explained that. As we talked about in the last meeting, Mr. Finger and I have both had the opportunity to review some detail of the Fishers family finances. And it is clear that the Fishers have the ability to move forward with this project. I know Treasurer Conine has had that same opportunity and has taken advantage of that. And more importantly, we have a financial professional that is backing this and their statement that that is the case. There is no question that that is the case. Staff has briefed the board to that effect, and with that, Mr. Dean, I will turn this over to you.
So, as it stands right now, as we found out in this meeting, the cost is currently $1.75 billion, but I think what Hill is saying that it might rise again, so hello, $2 billion. You know, I think that might be coming down here in the future, so. After that, we are, introduced again to, or not, we're reintroduced to these 4 letters of, of confirmation that the Fishers are rich, from, U.S. Bank, Fisher himself, something from Sandy Dean, basically just everybody saying, yep, Fishers have money. So after this, we heard from Sandy Dean, and he talks about how this definitive documentation for financing that will be utilized in Q2. And so here, take a listen, and I guess I can't tell if he's talking about if they're going to have the paperwork by Q2 or if they're going to start putting down the money in Q2 once the groundbreaking. So take a listen.
We've also provided a second letter, which is an equity investment letter from the John Fisher and members of his family, describing their commitment of $1.1 billion, and subject to the same customary conditions. We have a third letter from Athletics Stadco LLC that lays out principally the conditions that come with both the construction term loan and the equity commitment. And I would just note that many of those conditions relate to kind of the completion of definitive documentation for financing that will really start being utilized in earnest in the second quarter sometime. And then the fourth letter is from U.S. Bank, indicating their review of some of the financial holdings of the Fisher family.
So that was it. There was no really questions or clarification about the timeline. Maybe I just don't understand it correctly, but I can't tell if they're saying, yeah, we're going to start paying, or we're going to have the paperwork in Q2 or the groundbreaking in Q2. So something's going to happen in Q2. Supposedly, I just guess we got to wait to see what it's going to be. And we heard from the Senior Vice President and Managing Director of Sports from U.S. Bank, Steve Vogel. And he mentions that the A's worked with U.S. Bank since 2020. And it kind of reminds me of this tweet from Casey Pratt, who mentioned that the A's, that John Fisher put down his teams as collateral for loans 5 years ago. So, the A's, of course, as we know right now, Fisher's going to put down $1.1 billion. They're going to get $300 million in a construction loan from U.S. Bank and Goldman Sachs, and they're going to have $350 million in public funds. So that's how it is for right now. But this is just basically the U.S. Bank guy saying, yeah, Fishers are rich.
U.S. Bank has worked with the A's senior management team as their lead bank since 2020. We have a large presence in the Nevada community, which has contributed to our desire to support this transformative project. Currently, we have about 800 employees and 49 branches in the state of Nevada, including 29 within Clark County. With respect to the construction financing arranged on behalf of the A's and their ownership, U.S. Bank and one other financial services firm, Goldman Sachs, have committed to provide the A's with a $300 million construction loan. In conjunction with our due diligence for the stadium construction loan, U.S. Bank reviewed a portion of the financial holdings of the Fisher family and related entities as of June 30th, 2024. Our review included brokerage statements, SEC filings, independent third-party appraisals, and for certain related entities, GAAP-audited financial statements. Based on this review, we concluded that the Fisher family and their related entities have financial assets more than sufficient to fund the equity portion of the proposed capital structure for the new stadium. We look forward to working with members of the Stadium Authority, Major League Baseball, and the athletics leadership team to complete the various steps necessary to see the company begin the construction process on the stadium in the coming months.
And then after that, we heard from Sandy Dean kind of explaining why the price tag went up to $1.75 billion. But a lot of the stuff was already kind of declared early on, so I think a lot of it kind of just be contributed to general rise of costs of everything.
As it came out on Sunday night, the cost of the project is expected to be higher. This is something we've expected for a little while. We've known for a little while that it could be materially above the initial budget of $1.5 billion. And we wanted to go through one more round of estimating and refinement before putting out another number publicly. So now that's out $1.75 billion. And it's worth stating that the cost increases here are a function of both general pressure on the cost of construction that's being experienced around the country, along with us adding a number of enhancements and features to the ballpark. We intend to utilize under-seat cooling, which will be a first in an MLB ballpark for maximum fan comfort. That, in addition to the design that maximizes natural light, but also protects fans from the direct sun with the north-facing orientation. We've added audio-visual investment. That's mostly video boards and ribbon boards. Acoustic improvements in support of this being a premier concert venue. And we'll have more detail to share on the design in 2025. I think we'll come back and have a presentation about that and so on. But maybe just to close with two fun tidbits about the design, which is it's going to be an intimate ballpark. And that means it's just the seats are going to be close. And two ways we can share that is we believe the seats will be the closest to home plate of any ballpark in the country, measured from kind of the backstop to home plate. And the ballpark will have the second least amount of foul territory of any ballpark in the country. So the seats are going to feel close. Consistent with SB1, all the cost increases are the responsibility of the A's. That's been well understood from the beginning. We have a lot of work to do, and also we appreciate being here today with all the work that has been done, and look forward to continuing to move forward. Thank you.
And then we got to the Jeremy Koo section where they note that, yes, Section 34, the language is wrong. They can't approve this document with the Sports Entertainment District before getting that Sports Entertainment District approved by Clark County. So they call this the Koo Amendment, and they delete this language from the document, and it passes. After that, basically, they tied up everything and they vote to approve to send this to Clark County. Basically, the Stadium Authority Board is saying, hey, our work is done here. It's up to Clark County to create this sports and entertainment district.
And that passes. Agenda item, that's agenda item 14. Sure.
Then we got another round of applause from the county, from the board about the community benefits agreement, which basically puts the A's on the hook for, I believe, around $2 million in annual commitments, either in cash or in-kind contributions, whether that be tickets or other charity donations, stuff like that. Then that was pretty much it for the meeting, and we got some more public comment and another harsh dose of reality from Chris Daly for calling these people out for not asking a single question throughout this whole process.
Mr. Chairman, Chris Daly, Nevada State Education Association and Schools Over Stadiums. Over the course of my career, I've served on many boards, commissions, and committees. And for me, the magic of them were that, in a public forum, you can get different backgrounds, different perspectives. You can decentralize decision-making. You can represent segments of communities that otherwise aren't represented in the back room. So through the chair to the committee members, you should do better. Steve Hill obviously is a pretty masterful operative. He has a staff, he's got this building. And I think we know who he works for. But to the rest of you, there are communities that need representation. And if this is the marquee day that Chair Hill says it is, as you sign the documents and take, the photographs, perhaps a question, some discussion, perhaps just amplifying some concerns of the public, a majority of whom in Las Vegas oppose the use of public money for this stadium. And you have 13 members, not all here today, but you have 13 members and not a single question. The public deserves better. Thank you.
And I do want to thank Chris for bringing this up because I think it's a very valid point. I mean, basically throughout this whole process, the Stadium Authority did not ask a single question. And this comment definitely struck a chord with board member Lawrence Weekly, who defended the board's decision to stay silent throughout this whole process. And he insisted that, no, we've been asking a lot of tough questions behind closed doors, but we just don't want to waste the public's time. And he also had a lot to say about Allegiant Stadium's bathroom, which I thought was funny.
I have briefings. And I want to thank y'all because I get an opportunity to ask everything. It's a lot I didn't understand and I didn't know. I saw a lot of things in the media. Chris Mathis, who's here from 8 News Now, he reached out to me and asked me questions, and I could call you all and ask that. And so in my briefing, because I'm very, very sensitive about how the public feels about certain things, and I share that with you both, thank you for that. I just wanted that to be known for the record that we all receive briefings. And so with due respect to time, we want to be considerate of the public's time. We ask our questions when we get an opportunity to meet with you all. And if we want to sit here and expound on that and add an additional hour, we can do that. And so I want to put that on the record. But because here in Southern Nevada, we believe in partnerships. Let me just say, men's restroom over at Allegiant Stadium. I was there at that amazing UNR game, and we were all there for the Boise game, and we're praying for our Rebels to get them this time. But if we could talk about what we're going to do about the restrooms there, because I actually had to stand back and look, and I thought, there's a lot of room for some improvement here. We need some more stalls. We need some ingress and egress space. Guys move around, and it's just. So, it's a subject everybody don't talk about, but it's crazy when you've been in public office and you start seeing things a little different. If y'all can look into that for me, and I'd love for the ladies to come and talk about their experience on their side
Actually,
as well.
it's exceptional.
Yeah.
We're sorry you guys have a problem.
Yeah, we have a problem have a problem on our side, and so we want to make sure that as the Rebels grow and get better, and as the Rebels grow and get better, we love our Coach Odom. We just want to have when we have those big events there that we're comfortable there, and it's a safe space for us.
So maybe there's a reason that they stayed quiet. But, I would argue, seriously though, I would argue that they're doing the public a disservice by not asking questions. If we're interested, I think an extra 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes of discourse would go a long way in explaining this stuff. Especially with, like this comments that Dean made, like, what does he mean in Q2? What's going to happen in Q2, So, and then to cap off the meeting, of course, we had the Catherine Acre with Sal Johnson.
You of all people should know, Terry. In your hotel, there's always someone watching.
So, again, the big takeaways from this overall, the whole meeting from this one is that John Fisher is yet to put down money in the irrevocable trust, basically just saying that once this money's in there, they can't, there's no going back, So the Fishers are on the hook for the first initial $100 million of this project. So I don't think any billionaire is going to put down $100 million and not go through with the whole thing. So once we see that money, I think we can probably say, all right, this thing's going to happen. But until then, we're kind of in wait and see mode. So again, no money in irrevocable trust, no mention of Q2 groundbreaking, no mention of 2028 opening day, no publicity from the A's on this front. And of course, they're kind of digging in on their Sacramento marketing now, but ever since then, it's just been kind of quiet on this Las Vegas front. So, I guess we're just kind of in wait and see mode, because I guess I'm just kind of confused if there's, they satisfied all this language of SB1, but now they're kind of just in this no man's land where I don't know if there's any deadlines. I don't know if there's anything preventing Fisher from saying, I'm going to wait till next year to put down this money. I really don't know at this point. So the Stadium Authority Board is going to meet again on March 6th and again on March 22nd. So these are now quarterly meetings. So I guess we'll just have to, some clarity would kind of be nice about the A's and their timeline, but I guess we're just kind of just all waiting on Fisher. So, a lot of people have been speculating that Fisher has just been kind of kicking the can down the road because the Fed has been cutting rates the past few months for interest rates. There's a lot of borrowed money involved. So the Fed is expected to cut rates again on March 19th. They're actually expected to meet on January 28th and 29th, but no action expected to be taken. So they'll cut rates on March 19th, but that'll fall after the Stadium Authority meeting on March 6th, though. Maybe May 22nd we'll see the financing. I don't know. But again, I don't know if this is something that has to be presented in a public forum or if they can just say, put out a press release saying, hey, we got the money from Fisher. So this is all kind of in a weird gray area, and some clarity would have been nice. But for now, I think we're all just kind of waiting, and I don't know if Fisher's on any timelines. So we'll have to see. So again, thanks again for listening. I'm Alex Espinoza. Sell the team, and make sure to use my affiliate link down below at lasthour.com. So I'll try to have another Ricky report out soon about all the Sacramento updates, all these free agents that they've signed and everything, because there's been a lot on that front. But anyways, all right, take care, guys. See you soon, and have a good one.